spread empty. Across the middle, they find Godwin. Space. However, no space as Tryon hits home this time. Ball is out. Here, that would be fantastic as there's a sack. Fumble Grover Stewart. Ball is picked up. Board here. As we try to loft that one up, it gets picked. A great play by McCollum, who gets by Young, and the turnovers go in the favor of the Bucs as they will score. Zone here. Not much of a double team, but Barry. Let's roll out here, try to get a block with Barlow. Not much of a block, but it works. As they go to Sheldon with some good lead blocks, it opens up again for him as he gets to the outside. As it opens up again for him, trucking through, it's another touchdown. Here, opens up down the middle. Barry is in for his second. Stoppable today as they go with a throw. It's right across the middle, and Sidney Brown. If we throw it a little bit short and it goes too short, it's another pick. Just need another stop here. Pass rush, sack comes in by Owe. Need the first, it's nearly and does get picked. Got options. Look for our guy, back shoulder throw, it's caught! We will go with a read option, but Vita Vea knocked it out, are you kidding me? Back hold down, kick is up, there's the win. We played very sloppily, they played sloppily as well. Young was not our leader today. And coming off such a close, tight battle in a divisional game, it was very much needed that this team needed the bye week to recover. However, we do still have a few lingering injuries, and those injuries are going to be pretty big for us. In that game alone, we suffered injuries to our two starting linebackers, though we kind of have three, but Earl Stockton as well as Britton Hartwell are both out this game as well as the next game. Max Clifton was injured a few weeks prior, still injured, though this will be his last game before he makes his comeback. On top of this, we also have made a couple changes in the bye week to the roster, essentially making a trade and a signee to fill. We ended up sending DJ Wanham to the Lions for a current 4th round pick. He was just sitting on our roster, wasn't really doing much, but the occasional play here and there. It's his contract year, so we sent him on. To fill his spot, we also then went to the free agent market and signed the veteran in Preston Smith. He is a mentor and will primarily act as a mentor for our rookie outside backer in Quincy McCullough. Now, up to this point in his rookie year, Quincy hasn't done a whole lot. He's been involved in a few tackles, but he hasn't gotten any tackles for loss. He hasn't gotten any sacks. He's been involved on some pass rush for sure, but he has yet to get there. Hopefully now having that mentor will help him get on the way to actually finally making some plays here for us. And as today we play the Falcons, we could really use his help. This is a group that is pretty athletic, quick. Ritter has done a pretty decent job. He actually has the passing game being better than the rushing game, even with Bijan Robinson. Passing game averaging a little under 260 yards per game. Meanwhile, the offense barely breaking 100 yards per game through the rushing game. Their defense, though, is looking really good outside of points per game. They are 9th in passing yards and 8th in rushing yards. Meanwhile, our offense can be very hit or miss, but for the most part this season, we've done really well, and we did, for the most part, really well last week in the heavy rain. Without Chuba Hubbard, Barry stepped up, and the offense was able to keep things going. Defense, they were a bit hit or miss as well, but overall this season, we are 6th in passing yards and 2nd in rushing yards. So I expect what could either be a close battle or a dominant win for us. Though as I say that, hopefully we don't see the jinxing happening and see the Falcons just take off offensively, though they do have an 87 offense, 84 defense, but they are currently 3-4. We're sitting atop of our division right now fairly comfortably, but we need to make sure we keep bringing in these wins. Let's get this delay game underway as we boot it off with Ford. Atlanta back to return. They will take the knee. Starting at the 25 as Desmond Ritter heads out. He has yet to really take that next step in his career. 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, about 1,300 passing yards. But he has all the weapons around him to see this offense do well as Bijan Robinson shakes and bakes. On first down, we'll pick up 6. Now, the good news this week is that, one, we're playing indoors, so we shouldn't have the same problems that we did last week with all of the bad tackling that we had that kind of gave them a lot more yards than we should have. Luckily for us, there is a drop, leaving them with a 3rd and 4, but Bijan is all alone. Headed down the sideline, Gardner Johnson slows him down and we clean it up, but that's a big gain. On a 3rd down, we could have got the stop. Looks like some busted man coverage to blame on that one, and we are having to rotate some of the linebackers as Oliver will get the start in the base packages, once again getting a hit but not a tackle there on Robinson. And then we'll also see Sidney Brown come out, but we'll rotate that group pretty well for the nickel set. Kind of just play a little bit of the hot hand there. Some man coverage would definitely help out as that one's knocked away. Tight man coverage though coming from Shepard, the free safety. And that's not technically something he's supposed to be doing, but actually does it pretty well there. Brings up another 3rd down. As they have a bunch to the right-hand side, they swing it out. It's Pitts all alone, and Gardner Johnson wanted nothing to do with that. He rolls down as Kyle Pitts gets the score. So a very slow start overall for our defense coming off the bye. Offense will head out hoping to jumpstart the team. As we do have our guy in Hubbard back, we go to him play 1, and he does not speed away from the backer there. Great tackle. Or actually not backer, that was Jesse Bates. He got down to the line quickly. Big gain of 7 for Chuba Hubbard, back now his first game with the X Factor he earned a couple ago. Didn't get to see it last week again due to the injury. Got our receiver coming across. That's Bateman trying to hit the sideline down to the 23 and pushed out. He's come alive the last few games, and we'd love to see it. I'd definitely say throughout this series that wide receiver 1 has definitely been missing. We've got a variety of guys who could take that spot. We'll see if Bateman ends up doing just that as it's out for Chenault, and the corner just lost track of it. Ends up being another grab right next to the sideline. And it's that kind of throw that the team spends a long time, hours every single week working on, and it's paying out for them. Now we just need our defense to have a much better drive and to slow down Robinson, who got things going both on the ground and through the air, breaking at least first contact pretty much every time. And of course, with us missing pretty much our 2 starting nickel backers, it's definitely going to be an interesting go to see how well we combat one Robinson, who just keeps finding himself open in these man-on-mans. Our best man cover guys are the 2 that are injured in Stockton and Britton Hartwell. Another first down for the Falcons. We send the blitz, get a little hit in there on Ritter, force a bad throw. Now, if we do want to go back to a little bit of last week, we actually saw a sprinkling and a little bit more zone on defense, and it ended up working well into the second half. Might need to do a little bit more of that today as the 2 safeties combine for the tackle, bringing up 3rd and 4. And against tight ends like Pitts, we do need our corners to have a big day, as well as our safeties who have to play down to it. Pass rush comes in, and there's Cam Jordan. His first sack since the signing this last offseason. Prior to that play, you probably didn't even know he was on the team. But he spells in there and makes the big play. Offense gets to head out with a tie game. 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Going back to Hubbard, who has some space right down the middle. Will pick up about 15 yards up to the 42. Now, he suffered a shoulder strain in practice a couple weeks ago that kept him out of that last game. Though I feel like he's running a little bit slower to start things off. Who's not slow? That's going to be Jordan Thomas, the tight end, pounding through a couple different guys down to the 34. A little bit of some rumbling, stumbling for tight end 3. Honestly, all of our tight ends very capable guys, which is why we utilize them so much. Coming back across and off the top of Little's head. Eventually it hits the turf. But I am definitely glad that we got Chuba Hubbard back. We could get back to running the offense as we typically do. Getting the ball out to him on the screen, try to follow the blocks. Keep those legs moving. It's a gain of 7. And that should make this a much more manageable 3rd down here. Just need 3 more yards for the first. Got 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Got the slants dialed up. They send a little bit of a blitz. We roll out. We have our guys downfield, and it's Chenault with a second one on the run. Sidearm from Young. Call it 2 touchdowns on the back-to-back drives to open this game. And honestly, this is the opening that Young needed coming off of last game, because that was rough for him. Defense improved their last time out, see if they could keep that going, as Hodgins read it well, tackling not doing too well until we get the stop there late on. That was Newsome who had to come flying over to get the stop. Again, the first couple tackles, not great. If we could just start securing those, make the plays just a little bit faster. That's where our defense typically gets caught up. Just a little bit slow to react, as that is caught. Thought Oweh was about to get the pick there. Instead, it's actually going to be a catch for O'Neal. Tight end 2 for him, as they then switch things up here with a pistol strong eye. As they go downfield, Oweh in perfect coverage, back-to-back plays. And on 3rd and 1, expect them to hand this one off to Robinson, though they actually go with a pass, and it's going to go through the hands of Drake London. Should have been a first down. St. Just catch themselves a little bit lucky there. We'll get off the field once again. And we'll have the end of the quarter to also catch our breath before heading back out. All in all, it was a really good first quarter there for us. As we come out here, got 2 to the left, 2 tight ends to the right. Look for a little bit of some play action. See if we could catch them over the top. Chenault maybe would have had some space if we had the time, but we'll have to roll out and throw out. Now, Young was contained scrambling through most of the game last time. Hopefully we can see a little bit more of him moving around, as Hubbard also moving around would be great. Primarily gone his way to the traditional rushing game. Though if you've been around for a majority of our time here, you know that he's primarily a receiver. But we're going to go back to him on 3rd and 1. Halfback draw, opens up, pick up some blocks downfield, tried to slip between the safeties, gets tripped up, but it's a first down to midfield. Now I do want to make sure we are also rotating him a little bit. Give him some breathers more regularly throughout. So Barry checks in here as we go with a power run right down the middle. Lowers the shoulder but does not get through Bates. However, it is a great run there for him. We'll stick with the same look with this fresh set of downs to go with the play action off of it. See if we could hit Chenault for an early hat trick perhaps. Coverage actually looking pretty good, but coming across, we got Bateman. Tries to look for the back juke, slips one and down to the 3. So far today, using the rush or short passes even to really set up some deeper shots. As we come out here 1st and goal, we have Chuba Hubbard with his screen. Some blocks set to the inside, but not going to get to that spot quick enough. Quick tackle, no gain. So on 2nd and goal, we'll shake it up a little bit. They don't have many guys down the middle, so that's where we will stick as we had the read option drawn up, but easy handoff, great blocking, no DTs, and Chuba Hubbard will have an easy touchdown his first game back. And I'm just loving the fact that no matter what happens, every time this Falcons offense heads back out, it's Bijan Robinson. That's the only guy they keep showing, as he's pretty much the only guy who's consistently done things in this game, as, well, Drake London decides to hold on to that one. It goes as only the 6th completion for Ritter on the day, most of which have gone to Robinson. They've gotten a couple to Pitts as well, as they go back down to Robinson, who's not going to break first contact. 2 guys there will take him down after gain of 9. We could definitely do with seeing a little bit more from Castaneda. However, he's primarily kind of just been a blocker sucker, right? He typically gets a double team or more, as that's going to be undercut by Newsome. Ball came up short, and as his first game back, he gets a pick. We take over at the 37. So following what was a pretty slow start for the defense, that first drive gave up big play after big play. It's been pretty good ever since. Pretty much just Robinson giving us issues, as that one's chucked up and then given right back to A.J. Terrell Jr. I'm pretty sure Young meant to throw that to someone else. However, you also have to think a little bit for the offensive line there, who let one guy go right around the edge. Definitely a reason that pass was a bit off. 1st and 10, back with the Falcons, dump off. Gonna be a catch, gain of 3 for Robinson. And they could definitely thank their defense for essentially negating their previous mistake on their interception. As they go to a single back set here, 2nd and 7. Ritter, hard count, no one jumps. Gonna go with a play action. Everyone going deep. Couple short routes, but decides to chuck it out in the late release. So up to this point now, defense settling into this one. As it's 3rd and 7, they go right back to the wheel. And Sidney Brown just a little bit late to react. With the speed of Robinson, you've got to read that from the get-go. In a way, though, that play kind of reminds me of Chuba Hubbard's favorite passing route on that little out corner route that he runs. Pretty much what they're doing here with Robinson. Only way they're getting the gains as it's another pick from the opposite side. It's St. Juiced, another ball underthrown. And that'll make it 3 straight drives ending in turnovers. Hopefully we can end that streak here as we start at the 20. Hand this one off. Hubbard burst down the middle. We'll pick up 5. Now, last time we played the Falcons, they had a linebacker who just absolutely was destroying us. Name escapes me right now, but we haven't seen them do all too much at that backer spot, as that one's going to be caught by Chuba Hubbard. Ball came up a little bit short, but he made a good adjustment, and that'll send us to the 2-minute warning. We have all of our time left. We're sitting at about midfield. Let's see if we can get some more points on the board here before half. As we send our receiver in motion, fake the jet sweep, fake the handoff. Downfield is one-on-one, not one-on-one, 1-on-0, as Thomas could just walk literally into the end zone. A deep ball puts us up 28-7. I said at the beginning, this game is either going to be a close fight or it's going to be a blowout in our favor. And up to this point, it's been a blowout win. However, this drive can very well impact how the rest of it's going to go, as they do find Kyle Pitts just placed where it needed to be. Slightly further out in front, that's probably an incompletion. Behind, knocked away. They need a score on this drive if they want anything to happen the rest, as the Hodgins, why can't we not tackle Ritter? He's not that shifty. Like you learn in Pee Wee football, watch the hips. The head will lie to you. As it gets them all the way down here to the red zone, they then miss the first throw out to Pitts. But up to this point in this drive, they're feeling that pressure. They know they need the answer. They got 46 seconds left. They need to get in the end zone, and they hit the wheel route. That is all this Falcons team can do. Taylor Decker injured on the play, but they do half their deficit. However, we have been really good on the passing game today. We have 42 seconds left and all of our timeouts. See if we could grab a little bit of some more points here before halftime. We got a fantastic kicker. We're out of bounds with a first down at the 40. 36 seconds left. Let's see if we could get another chunk play or two. Need around the 40 for a field goal. Chuba Hubbard in his X Factor, though, going to be a blocker on this play, as it should open up here for us. It's likely placed high and away from the defender. However, I'm not sure if we're out of bounds on that one, so let's call a timeout to be safe. But that does get us to our field goal range with Ford, especially since we're indoors here. Though Chuba Hubbard going to go to the left-hand side. We got Bateman going deep. If we could get a touchdown, we'll definitely go for the touchdown. Check this one down. Hayden Hurst, his first catch of the day, gain of 7, 25 seconds. Just need to make sure we don't, sack, fumble, or anything. Grady Jarrett down the middle has given us problems before. See if we make sure we lock him up. Down the field, toss it up for Mingo, and tipped away by Terrell Jr. Or Terrell Jr. I can never remember which one it is. Let me know down below. But we got 3rd and 3. Need a first down here. We got some underneath routes that could do it. Got a guy coming across, but the hit timed up well. 4th and 3, 15 seconds left. We'll send out Ford. So ultimately a little bit disappointing considering the start of the drive, but either way we should be getting points here. As Ford is sending that one right down the middle, we'll send this one to halftime. And overall, there's not too much to not be too happy about. Obviously, we gave up some points there in that first half. 14, though, not bad considering our offense was on fire. 31 points, already closing in on 300 passing yards. It's been nice having Chuba Hubbard back. Offense just feels free. But as we finally take some looks around the league, see what all is happening, the Buccaneers, who have not been able to win following our close loss or last week during our bye, they're also losing this one. As for the Texans hosting the Titans, they are down 14-0. And lastly, we got the Chicago Bears facing the Packers. And it is a close game there in that division, 14-7. Both teams looking for their third win. And as we get back to our game, we are starting off with the ball. 31-14 Falcons, desperate for a stop here from their defense. As we get it to the outside, Hayden Hurst sitting in the open zone. It has essentially been night and day for Young today. Compared to our last game where he had 3-4 turnovers, his throws have been on the money time and time again. And with that, we haven't had to focus too much on Chuba Hubbard, which I'm sure he likes, letting that shoulder fully recover as we also bring out Barry here. Callaway shifts over, look for a stretch to the outside, a ceiling block, however, a flag is down. Barry will lower the shoulder, but let's check in here on the ref. Might be holding over for one of the tight ends, perhaps? And indeed, that's going to be the case. Sealed the edge with Hayden Hurst, but it was through a holding call. Leaves us with 2nd and 16. Go with a little bit of some play action all off of it. Trying to roll out, buy some time, perhaps, as it's through the hands of Callaway. Young got himself in trouble a couple times in that previous game with very similar throws to that. Luckily, that one not picked off. But we could get a first down here if that ball was anywhere close to Chenault. Falcons will get what they needed, a stop on defense. And as their offense heads out for the first time this second half, wondering what changes they may have made, because so far their offense has not really worked out. They've gone Robinson's way as they start with him, who nearly picks up the first down. But yet I still don't feel like he was really their primary guy in that first half. I feel like they need to start going his way a little bit more. As they go to the outside, not knocked out. Great hands there from Pitts. First down up to the 39. St. Juice pretty physical there on the reception, just not quite enough to rip the ball out. As they follow it with an empty set, we bring the blitz. They can then wheel it out to Pitts, as they've done a couple times today, including at least one touchdown from it. Though if I'm also remembering correctly, I think that was also their first touchdown, was essentially another wheel to Pitts. That's where they've gotten most of their yards today. As Robinson down the middle will just pick up the first down by about an extra yard. Right now, we're not seeing any of the D linemen really shed blocks and get the tackles, but they are eating up blocks, making it to where our linebackers need to make the tackles, as Shepard does there coming down from the safety spot. And we really haven't seen Shepard do much with his time starting. However, in this one, he's getting involved a lot more through tackling, as that is just blown coverage. Pitts, I think that might be his third of the day. He might have every single one of the Falcons' touchdowns, just athletically mismatching us. And it's not like he's been doing it against just the backers. That time was against Cash. As our offense will head out, I would like to see a little bit more of Chuba Hubbard this drive. As we start with a handoff, he'll pick up 12, 13 yards, pretty easy. Now, one thing I do want to talk about after this game is going to be a quick update on the draft class, because there is a certain style or type of player I'm looking for our offensive line. And what has been quite rare to find that style of player, we do have some options. So we'll definitely have a draft update at the end of this game. But let's try to get through this game first, as we barely just get through the blocks there and nearly get just demolished by our own offensive lineman. We do pick up the first down with Chuba Hubbard. Not sure if that was Little or maybe even Max Mitchell from the left guard spot, but someone came flying over and gave a nice forearm shiver to Hubbard. And then we lose 3, going Barry the next play. But again, coming off of such a strong performance from the rookie in Barry, wanted to make sure we got him involved even in this game with Chuba Hubbard being back. We've got our tight end coming across. Hayden Hurst, ball placed high, something we've been trying to work on with Young. We're seeing that come into fruition here. Now, have all these passes needed to be high? Maybe not, but it's been at least a safer spot. As they have a double A gap look here, we might have Hayden Hurst right down the seam. Indeed we do, but it's through his hands. Heard the footsteps from the safety. Really should have been a touchdown there. So we'll switch things up here. We got all receivers out, give our tight ends a little bit of a breather. Though with only a 3 front, we're going to check to a Hubbard run. However, we got no blocks from the left-hand side. The linebacker blitzed straight through it. Limits the gain to a gain of 1. So we'll need 9 here on third down. First down is down in between the 16 and 17. So we'll just say the 16 for safe. Going to wheel out Hubbard. They cover that one pretty well, though. Coming across, we got Chenault, who will get close to, doesn't depend on the spot, but they're going to move on the chains. First down from Chenault. We win his way a little bit more in the first half or even first quarter. Only his first catch in quite a while, though. We might go back to him here. We got 2 corners set up and then 2 out routes. Although it's looking like we might have had Jennings, but it's Landman down the middle who makes the play. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Landman in the previous matchup who just demolished us. As we're going to head into the fourth quarter here, 31-21, a 10-point game, though it feels so much more in our favor. However, making it stay that way, we could really use with some points to end this drive. As we start with Chuba Hubbard here on 2nd and long, a halfback draw will turn it into still a 3rd and long, but a decent game. First down, sitting down towards the 6, and once again, they're leaving no one on Hayden Hurst. We could just get this right over the top of the backer, and it's through his hands again. What's happened to Hayden Hurst? He used to be that guy every time, but that is 2 big drops from him. We'll have to send out Ford. We'll hit the field goal, make it a 2-touchdown game. And ultimately, that goes to feel a little bit more like a win for the Falcons, keeping it a 2-score rather than it going to a 3-score game. As their offense heads out, they do find London. First play, gain of 6. Now, they definitely started slow, but their last couple drives has been some of their best. Need to see if our defense can make some good adjustments as they get it to the outside. Pass just a little bit off. And that'll leave them with a 3rd and 4, though you wonder if they may feel like they have to go for it on 4th down. They got a bunch to the left-hand side. It's where they've sent a lot of wheels, but they go the opposite way, finding their first down to their receiver, however, Chris Lindstrom. He's shaken up. Now, they did lose Taylor Decker earlier in the game, however, he is back at this point. So, only down 1 lineman as we stand. They go across the middle and just again, off. That time a little bit more than just off, though. That time the receiver had to dive out for it, and even then was still too far to get to it. 2nd and 10, we make a slight adjustment. Check off the blitz, just sit in man coverage. As they come with a deep end, they've been going 88's way often this drive, and it's working for them. 88 being Davis, as he's over to the right side, the outmost spot here of the bunch. As they don't go with the wheel, however, to the inside and tipped away by St. Just. Good recovery. That's the same route they just ran on. However, that's been something that we've seen time and time again in the film room where we've struggled is that deep end, just having the right positioning. As they swing it out, it's going to be Robinson, past 1 and getting the first down to the 31, which just so happens to also be the 31st pass from Ritter. Again, he started off a little slow. He missed some early on, but he's also made some good throws. As he does find Davis there, they're down to the 10. You know, maybe taking up a bit more time than you would hope, but they need a touchdown, and they're at least in position to do so. As they go to Robinson, gonna get by the linebackers through St. Just, but not by Cash, who will wrap him up. Now that is at least one thing that's been kind of the same for both teams in this one, is the linebackers really have not been a part of it. As they go to Robinson through Gardner Johnson, however, Shepard there again. As it brings up 3rd and goal, they come out with a heavier set. Down the middle, it's set up, but the hit comes in. It is the rookie in Oliver. Plus, Stewart definitely helped out. But really, the rest of the game comes down to this. 4th and goal, they will go with a throw. As he's having to scramble out, here goes Cam Jordan, sack, fumble, scooped up. That is Sweat who gets up trying to get some extra yardage. He doesn't go anywhere. But the sack fumble comes in. Cam Jordan, his 2nd sack and only 2 sacks of the season. And as long as our offense does their job, that might have just sealed this one. 34-21. Time to have the offense come out here, ground and pound, milk some clock, which we still have about 3.5 minutes left of. Going back a couple episodes where I coined the hydraulic press offense, that's kind of what we're looking for here. Still get some pop plays, but just keep a slow, consistent pressure as Barry gets to the outside, shucks off Tranquil, picking up that first down. Hasn't really been anything too flashy for Barry today, but we don't need flashy. We just need the job done. As we go back to him, offensive line does well, cuts back to the left-hand side. He picks up 8 more. And just like that, we hit the 2-minute offense. Falcons still have not decided to call any timeouts. I expect them to start really having to use some here as Hubbard just gets back to the line. There's the first timeout called. I want to try to use his athleticism here to help try to secure the first down. As they send a little bit of the corner blitz, it opens up. It is Hubbard. Tried to bounce it there, but it's still a first down. Second timeout. They got one more remaining. And essentially a first down will pretty much do it as we have 1:52 left on the clock. Falcons will have to use their last timeout after this play. It's a great stiff arm there from Barry as the final timeout does come in. But next to no time came off the clock. We lose a yard. We'll go right back to it. Barry trying to find a little bit of some lanes, but they're crashing down on it. So that'll leave us here with a 3rd and 10, in which I want to go with the Chuba Hubbard screen pass. Blocking not exactly opened up for it. We'll pick up some yardage. We'll let this one run down, but we will have to punt it back. There's really not a lot of time left. 22 seconds. They don't have any timeouts, but this is where it's up to the defense to make some big plays. Get some picks, pad your stats, get some pass rush even. As good coverage, not much of a pass rush, but it does do enough to force the throwaway. And we know they're going to have to utilize the sidelines as well, so favor that way. As they got 2 spread either side, try to get something here. Oweh around the edge, lays a big hit. Can we tip it back in? No. But we were just about an extra step closer to making the big play there. Again, keep everyone back in coverage. Favor the outside. Oweh misses the sack. Brown comes off of it and forces another throwaway. 4th and 10. And what looks like it could be the final play here as they do set up for the Hail Mary attempt way back at their own 20. Looks like they're going to go for a sideline play. Can we get a pick before it's all said and done? Yes, we do. It's Newsome with a second on the day. Just padding the stats. That's all that was good for us. They were already down 2 possessions. It's not as big of a blowout win. Again, 14-point game. But it really felt like a blowout for a good portion. Offense slowed down a bit in that second half. Defense, they had an iffy middle. But the first and 4th quarter, they were rock solid. Gave up some plays here and there, a little bit sloppy plays on offense, but it's a win, burying even further the Falcons in the division. And with that lead, we are now sitting very comfortably atop the NFC South. We now have a 3-game win, actually 3.5-game win on the Saints as we have beat them earlier on. We've swept the Buccaneers. We got 1 win against the Falcons. So we're doing really well in our division. In total, for the NFC, we are currently tied with the best record of the Eagles. However, we are getting the tiebreaker probably due to the points for. We're not doing as well against the points against, but either way, those apparently outweigh each other, and we're actually currently the top seed in the NFC. However, we are not the best team in the league. That is going to the Jaguars, who are 8-1. The Bills are our next opponent. They actually have a better record than us, 7-2, though for some reason, they're currently listed as the 3rd. So that is going to be a very tough battle next time. But as mentioned, we're going to have a little bit of some talk about the draft to close out this episode. And I was talking about a position with a certain style of player that I would really like to go after. And that is a power blocker right down the middle at center. We've had a lot of finesse guys and we've had a lot of trouble against top tier DTs. And a lot of them are power based. So I feel like we do need to find a power center for us for the future. Right now we have a 1-year stopgap with David Andrews. And there's a couple guys here who are power guys. In the round 2 to 3, you got Joshua Hackett and James Stevenson. Now, both these guys could be options for us. You got Hackett, who's 21 years old, out of Oregon, and they say he has solid to good strength, but he is still a power blocker. I would prefer that strength to obviously be a little bit higher, but he does come in with a run block power. That is primarily the thing I'm looking for. If he does have good pass block power, all the better. Pass block finesse is a C, but you're going to get help on either side of you. As for the other guy in Stevenson, 21 years old, out of Michigan. Michigan normally produces pretty good offensive linemen. However, he also only has solid to good strength. But his ratings are looking possibly better across the board, but he doesn't have that A for run block power. So these guys are intriguing for sure. Other options who could possibly maybe even play center, you can move a guard over for sure. Give him time to improve through training camp. And over at left guard, there is Sean Burrell, who's 23 years old. So he's on the older side. Florida State, though he's a big boy at 6'4", 341. And he's coming in with great to elite strength. However, finesse, he just essentially does not do it. C for pass block finesse and D for run block finesse. So he's going to have issues against finesse guys if you come across that at DT. So while all three of these guys, Hackett, Stevens, as well as Burrell, they have their positives, they definitely also have their negatives. None of them are just pure well-rounded guys with that power. Now, potentially, we might have some guys who are agile, who might also still have some of that power to their game. So we'll definitely keep an eye on the rest of them. Another spot I'm considering to be potentially a high pick for us is the tight end spot. We saw today Hayden Hurst definitely is not the same player. We've got some other options on our team, but this is also a really good tight end class towards the top. The top 4 guys all look really solid, though. Right now, I'm leaning a little bit towards Brett West as potentially being our top target. He's 6'4", 259, 22 years old, out of UCLA. He has, for the most part, really good physicals. Not that much strength, marginal to decent. He is a down the field threat, but that down the field threat does look really good. A, catching traffic, a lot of A to C's across the board. As for the route running, you got B to D for short. Medium looks like it's going to be better, as that is A to C. And then deep accuracy, you also have A to C. Run blocking, though, it does say it's an A. So, and even for the pass blocking. So he might not be that strong, but he might also be able to just get the job done. So Brett West does look very intriguing. So that leads us to a interesting spot here. As again, Hayden Hurst, he is regressing. He's 32 years old. He might retire after this season, or he might just continue to regress. We obviously brought in Isaiah Likely last year, and that was through a trade. However, this is his contract season, and he's been hot and cold. He's made some plays. He's missed some pretty easy plays at the same time. We've got some depth, but Jordan Thomas is about to turn 25 years old, currently a 72. He has some decent athleticism, but he doesn't quite have that awareness. He does have decent run blocking, though, mixed with a pretty decent, I don't think, top end route running skills for tight ends. Then there was also the rookie in Donovan Callaway, who just really hasn't had much of a chance out there. He has pretty decent spec catch, one of the better on the group, but overall, again, his route running's very raw. So if anything, this leaves us at a spot that maybe for the rest of the season, we try to see what some of these other guys can do as a tight end one. We run a lot of tight end heavy sets, so we're still going to have Hayden Hurst out there. At worst, he's going to be tight end 2, and we're just going to rotate Hurst and maybe Thomas as the top 1 and 2 guys, just to see if either of them are the answer really for the future. But speaking of future, we have a big game coming up next. As mentioned, it's the Buffalo Bills. They are right behind us in the overall standings. However, they are 7-1. We are 6-2. They have a pretty good defense. Number 1 in points per game, as well as rushing yards, 6 in passing yards. Their offense not as effective, yet they still manage to score. Our offense, we score a lot. Defense can be either really good or really bad. I don't say really bad. Really good or very average would probably be the better way of saying it for them. We'll see which ones we get. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is going to have to get covered up. We're going to have to deal with their tight ends. They have a good young one. So make sure you stick around if you have not already. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down and hit the sub button. This series, every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Plus, we have the Bama State-Only Challenge every Wednesday and Saturday. So as long as you tick that bell icon, you'll be notified of when these videos go out. Plus, we have all the shorts highlighting everything happening in these videos. So a lot coming at you with a very big game that could either potentially pull us further up the NFL seeding or could see us potentially drop a little bit. A tough battle between two of the best teams in the league this season is coming next.